Good morning, Uday and Bhargav. Today is Wednesday, November 22nd, and here's the heads up brief for today. Today's production to our clients consisted of a total of 78 issues. We covered 44 issues in East Asia Pacific, 22 issues in South Asia, and 12 issues in the EMEA region. I will be briefing you on the major issues of today's production.
Hello, Bassel. Thank you. Let's move on to the major issues today, please.
So in East Asia Pacific, I'll be covering the top 4 of the 44 issues. In Timor-Leste, a demonstration by the Povokik, which means the Little People group, is underway in Tasitolo, Delhi, and is expected to last till this afternoon. The protesters will rally from Hera to Tasitolo. The demonstration is in support of victims of eviction by the Delhi District Court. The group will express solidarity and offer support to Manuel Guzmão, amidst the land dispute in Aimete, Laran. Security measures have been tightened in Delhi municipality in anticipation of the demonstrations today. We released an APAC alert on this today.
Thanks, Russ. So keep a close eye out on this, especially if security forces crack down on these protesters. Land ownership issues and evictions are a very controversial topic in the country. So let's keep following it. Thanks.
Sure, Uday. Also in Timor-Leste, an individual was injured in a stabbing incident in Kampung Baro near the Komoro roundabout in Delhi today at 3:17 p.m. local time. Police personnel have been deployed in the area to investigate the issue. No arrests have been made in relation to the stabbing yet. The incident site will be cordoned off to the public, causing traffic jams near the Komoro roundabout. We released an APAC alert on this today as well.
Thanks. Yeah, it's pretty central. So let's keep an eye out on it and update clients as necessary, and also make sure it goes into our fortnightly for this week. Thanks.
Sure. Also, we have 2 issues in PNG. The first issue, Mount Olawon, which is a stratovolcano in the West New Britain province, erupted on November 20th, resulting in the displacement of over 13,000 people and flight cancellations. A 15-kilometer high column of smoke was released into the air following the eruption, prompting the implementation of evacuation plans. As of yesterday, the alert level was lowered from level 4 to level 3, indicating a moderate to strong eruption. The Rabaul Volcanological Observatory reported that an active phase of the eruption is ongoing, suggesting that the eruption might continue indefinitely. Air travel in the region will be significantly impacted over the coming days, especially if the eruptions continue. We released an APAC advisory on this today.
All right, thanks, Bassel.
Also in PNG, the vote counting process for the Lagaip supplementary elections was suspended after another person was killed yesterday. Security personnel arrived in Wabag yesterday, shortly following the outbreak of violence. Wabag parliamentarian Dr. Lino Tom yesterday appealed to the contesting candidates to maintain calm and allow election authorities to continue with the democratic process. We covered this as the major development in the Australasia roundup today.
Right. I'd expect violence to continue in the coming days, given the dynamics of elections and politics in Papua New Guinea. So let's watch out for this. Thanks, Bassel.
Sure. In South Asia, I'll be covering the top issue of the 22 issues. In Pakistan, the Afghan-Pakistan trade through Chaman in Balochistan was partially suspended on November 20th due to a sit-in protest against new travel rules. The protest at Chaman is against the closure of the Pakistan-Afghan border. The Senate has opened discussion on the issue following the trade block. Protests are likely to continue by Afghan refugees and immigrants, as well as traders. Trade through the crossing will be suspended for a temporary period. We covered this as a major development in the South Asia roundup today.
All right. The border issues between Afghanistan and Pakistan are quite critical and quite sensitive as well. And a high volume of trade actually goes through the border crossings. And more importantly, the trade with Pakistan is like a lifeline for many areas along the border regions in Afghanistan. And this is especially important as the economy in Afghanistan is down in the dump and they're trying to revive it. They cannot do it without the trade. And the same applies to the areas on the Pakistan side of the border. So More such restrictions are likely as there are multiple political and security issues on Pakistan's side. So let's monitor the situation very closely and keep our clients updated.
Sure, Bhargav. In EMEA, I'll be covering the top 3 of the 12 issues. Concerning Armenia and Azerbaijan, Azeri President Ilham Aliyev yesterday said that France is creating conditions for a new war in the southern Caucasus region by supplying arms to Armenia. His statement came during a conference on decolonization in the capital, Baku. President Aliyev added that France destabilizes not only its past and present colonies, but also our region, the South Caucasus. This is done by supporting separatist tendencies as well as separatists. We conveyed this to our clients via an advisory message today.
Okay, that's quite interesting. There are 2 different strands there. The first strand is that of France playing mischief in some of these sensitive areas, including their former colonies in Africa. And it cannot be denied that they have played a high-handed game, which will further the tensions rather than actually help either of the parties. And the West in general, including France, is guilty of that. We have seen that in the Balkans. We have seen that in the Baltics and in Ukraine. So the second strand is that of hypocrisy on Azerbaijan's front. Now they are receiving a large consignment from Turkey now and then. They are receiving continued support from Turkey in terms of arms, technology, the military and diplomatic support, and now objecting to Armenia receiving similar support from outside is not consistent, and it's quite hypocritical. If they really want to foster a peaceful neighborhood, they got to take proactive steps diplomatically, politically, and in terms of security. Yes, and it goes both ways. Armenia is seeking support from the West, while Azerbaijan is further bolstered by Turkish expansionist policies in terms of foreign policy. So let's monitor the situation. It is unlikely that the tensions will subside anytime soon.
Yes, sure. Also in Ukraine, protests and blockades by Polish truck drivers at border crossings to Ukraine have curbed imports of motor vehicle gas, which is denoted as LPG. The blockade has resulted in an increase of 30% in domestic LPG prices. A third of Ukraine's LPG demand is usually imported from Poland. However, officials said that the LPG supplies could be most affected by the border blockade, while petrol and diesel were not in danger. We conveyed this to our clients via an advisory message today as well.
All right, thank you.
Concerning the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Israel and Hamas have agreed to a 4-day pause in fighting. This is to facilitate the release of 50 Hamas-held hostages in exchange for 150 Palestinians jailed in Israel. The cessation of fighting will also allow the entry of more humanitarian aid into Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said the war will resume after the pause. We also conveyed this to our clients via an advisory message today.
All right. So, Bassel, is there any further talk of ceasefire from either of the sides, especially with American intervention?
So this is the first phase of the ceasefire, which will include a 4-day pause and will include in the exchange of hostages. However, Hamas is still requesting the release of all Palestinian prisoners in Israeli prisons in exchange for the military hostages that they have, and it includes a lot of notable military personnel from the Israeli army. So today, Amos Hochstein will go to Israel to facilitate another a humanitarian or ceasefire, let's say, or a humanitarian pause, and to also urge the Israeli authorities not to expand the conflict with Lebanon, especially after we saw what Hezbollah targeted, the Birnat, I think it's called, barracks in the northern Israel along the border with Lebanon, which resulted in a lot of Israeli army fatalities.
All right, thank you. Nothing further from my end.
Thank you.
Bassel.
That's the brief for today.